Good morning. Hello to everybody. Another Kerfuffle Spotlight. Really pleased today to be welcoming Ashley McKellar. Hi, Ashley from Agent Hub. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Sorry, I sent you off camera. I am in a bit of a seedy hotel. But anyway, hopefully they won't come and try and clean up the room while we're in here, although it is a complete mess, but never mind. Right, Ashley, I've been monitoring you guys for some time now. I think it's a really interesting provision that you're giving to estate agents. Do you want to just first of all, though, just give us a bit of background on yourself and the business, just so that people understand where you're coming from?
Yeah, sure. So I've been in property now for about 15 years. I first started working with Salesforce in 2016. We became a Salesforce partner in 2018, December 2018. So we're a Salesforce partner that provides specifically a CRM built on the enterprise platform. So yeah.
Okay, cool. And for people who've been living under a rock, actually, that's probably a bit unkind, isn't it? There are still they're not all trained spotters like me, are they? To be fair, in terms of their Salesforce is the world's largest CRM package, isn't it? In terms of a general CRM package that specialises in just about every vertical that there is in the marketplace. In fact, it's probably too small to call it just a CRM. It's actually an entire platform ecosystem in its own right, isn't it?
Salesforce is the largest platform out there. A lot bigger than some of the more well-known ones that you might see on your YouTubes and Google ads and stuff like that. But it's the only platform which is completely customizable. Some of the biggest companies in the world are using it. The only thing that they don't do is they don't build specifically for sectors, and that's why they have chosen partners for that.
And that's a really key point, isn't it? Because actually, and we'll come on to this a little bit on, there have been a number of real estate agencies around the world that have tried to get on the Salesforce platform, customize it, and it's not been the easy. I think one of the downsides is, isn't it, because this package is so customizable, so powerful, you can end up going down rabbit holes very quickly unless you're focused in the way that you are. That's right, isn't it?
So with the Salesforce platform, you can literally pick and choose what you want to do. A lot of the time we get asked, can the system do this? And it might seem a bit arrogant of me, but it's not a case of can we do it. It's more of a case of how we do it and how long it takes to do. So for somebody that isn't defining a package, it's very, very difficult to then focus on a task without ending up on another road and building something else, essentially, because what you do is you build an object and objects on top of objects on top of objects, and it can become really, really, really long task. As well as that, Salesforce consultants can be very expensive. So it depends on obviously your budget for the task ahead, but they can be very expensive as well.
You don't have to tell me that. I've used Salesforce myself as a CRM. And look, we'll come back to this at the end because it's worth hanging on for. But just in case anyone's thinking, oh, this is going to cost me money, I won't steal all your thunder, but actually you've got a really positive story there. But yeah, Salesforce, especially if you have to go via their ecosystem of consultants, it's like a good engineer, isn't it? Somebody like that. If you find a good one, you're in a good place. But if you don't get the right person there, then again, it can get very expensive very quickly, and ultimately not lead to you delivering on your ultimate goal, which of course is the main reason. So given, okay, we've spoken about, I shouldn't really start on a negative, should I? As I said, I'm the least professional presenter that's out there at the moment. Let's start with a positive again. What were the reasons you decided to build on the Salesforce platform? What does Salesforce give you that you felt was worth obviously investing the time and energy in?
I think it's the flexibility. First and foremost is the flexibility of the platform. They pre-build a lot of objects, okay, which helps us as a tech company coming up, and it allows us to kind of put our hat into the rooms that we want to be spoken into, okay?
Yeah.
Now, with the objects that we build, we have complete control over. We have complete control over it. We don't need specific coding to it. The coders that we have and the coders that we do use, they're specifically Salesforce trained. So we've got in-house Salesforce developers that do that, and they do a great job at it. With Salesforce, you can almost architect what you want, and have the output 2, 3, 4 weeks later.
I think just going back to my experiences with it, I I can find my way round it. You know, the old classic view, and then there's the new lighting view there. But I've always been, convinced that actually it does need more customization there to make it work in the estate agency world. And I think that key point about what you're talking there is to have that control element that you can literally stylistically control elements of it is vital, isn't it? In terms of, look, we know the power of Salesforce with what it can do in terms of integrations, customizations, automation there. But actually, it still needs to be a simple package at the end of the day to get the core data in there in the right way, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's what we work on, on a day-to-day basis, is having the components that do the job you need, but then also making those components as robust as possible. Because yes, you want automation, but we've seen it time and time again is people get carried away with automation, and you sometimes forget that the automation is there. So
not to bounce back on the negative again, but this is an important one. What's the biggest advice you can give to agents that are thinking going down this route? Is it the classic one of start with little and build on it rather than try and build your utopian goal from the very beginning?
100% start small or start very vanilla and then build on it as you come up with that use case. Because what you do and what we've seen is that customers will come to us and they say, right, I want it to flash, I want it to spin, and they'll forget the flash and the spin. And literally they'll say, okay, can we tone it down a bit now? So you always end up, sometimes it's a bit overkill.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense again there. And in terms of what you've done on the platform, what makes you now what makes you now special as a CRM?
Oh, well, we specifically built out our objects for different variants. Okay, so sales, lettings, management, residential, and commercial.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
So cross, so that's really, really important there. A lot of people are looking for, one solution to make it work. Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
We pick and choose the good Salesforce objects that are usable. We take them out and we actually redefine them for our purpose. So we've got the underlying code of Salesforce there, and we redefine it for our purpose and what we want to do. So we have it for residential, commercial, sales, lettings, and management.
Yeah.
And then we actually choose the objects that we want to Salesforce, and then we incorporate our own objects with that. On top of that, we do our integrations. So if you are using, for instance, big big pin at the moment, but if you're using one of the top 3 portals in the country, automatically we can do that by the click of a button, a checkbox, or automation. So we've got automation rules there where you can update a stage and say property is now live on the market. It's now live on the market, and it shoots off to 3, 4, 5 portals, including some of the free ones as well.
So again, one of the big problems that people have had is when they've been developing on the Salesforce platform, they do literally have to reinvent the wheel in terms of these areas for doing just the day-to-day jobs, which was mundane, are vitally important, like those portal feeds you're talking about. So what you're talking about again is that you've already thought this through. You've got all the basics, the essentials in place for any normal agency in the UK to pick up and run with this from day one. Yeah.
Yeah, so entering and registering applicants, taking the applicants' requirements, matching the applicant to the properties, putting the properties on the market, taking offers, doing deals, having online tenant forms, online sale forms, portals. So we've got portals for the customer portals, applications fed off of the Salesforce mobile application, but just recoded as soon as you put in your email address and your username. So all of these things are fantastic.
Do you have any functionality for dealing with the leads that come in from the portals as well, or do you have to rekey those leads into the application?
So for every portal, and we're currently sitting at the 3 majors, plus I would say 6 or 7 of the free to list portals. And for every portal that we integrate with, you push your properties to the portal, and you see every opportunity coming in from the portal as well, and that's done on hourly view, and it calculates it into a lifetime lead score as well.
Okay, that's really good. So you that concept of lead scoring, again, marketeers will know this well, but maybe other people don't. So based on some of the information they filled in or how they've behaved, it's always building a score based around how hot you are as a client. That's the basic ethos behind that, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's one element of it, but also the element of why they came into your system in the first place. So if they're on a property on a portal and they've said, "Can I book a viewing?" It would tell you that Ashley McKellar's coming from XYZ portal. It will say to you that he's interested in a viewing and he's got a property to sell. From that very screen, you can do 3 or 4 actions that are must-have actions. But then it also will give him a score. If you're working on a point system of 100, like something like what Pardot does or something like that, you can give them points, and then your sales team or your lettings team will know once they get to that score of 100, it's time to give them a call.
Yeah, very exciting. I've just started. You just mentioned it. I've just gone live with Pardot myself, actually, so I haven't managed to break it yet. But oh my God, what an incredible system that is to have in the building your journeys and nurture things. It's very, very impressive.
Probably the holy grail of marketing automation. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that if you told me it was a complete pop, I'd have been really depressed, because it's a year-long contract as far as I'm concerned.
You spend a little bit of time setting it up, but once you set it up, you'll never need to touch it again.
And that's a key point, isn't it? What we're talking about here. If again, you do have access then to. There's lots of EDM providers, obviously out there, generic ones. There's lots, obviously, in this arena. You've got great companies like Brief Your Market, Active Pipe, who focus on the, obviously on the estate agency area as well. But the key point is that you should be able to put these automation rules, these nurture journeys in place, so that you get a steady, Tom Panos, doesn't matter whether it's Tom Panos or Josh Fegan, Stephen Brown, you've got all the data, all the gold locked away in that database, isn't it? And that's just one way of ensuring a steady drip of leads into your, regardless of the portals, just of the business you're doing.
Yeah, because you want to know everything about a client from looking at that client record in that one screen, and that's what we try and do. That's what it does.
Hi, Trevor's on. I suspect I know why you're here, Trevor, but we'll come to that question later on. You'll have to wait a second. So obviously we've talked about there's obviously a large number of CRM providers out there. Again, what makes you apart from the Salesforce element? What do you feel makes you different from the CRM players?
Well, a lot of our customers that come to us, they come to us because they're having some gripes with their current CRM, whatever it might be, and we also get asked the questions of, can you customize this and can you customize that? So we always say to the customer, we leave our system at 80%, and that 20% is the gloss that the customer puts on there. Okay. The journey, the customization, the automation, the text message confirmations, the email confirmations, the triggers, the workflows for the in-house team, stuff like that. So that 20% is the gloss of that.
So this isn't giving you what some companies like Foxtons have done, where they've written their own boss system. But it's a wonderful sort of blend, halfway house between having the reliability of a CRM package and having having that that bespoke element there, isn't it? I mean, my old company Reapin, of course, you'll know well there. They've gone down the route in a slightly different approach. They've got their foundations, and that's going to give them that little bit of sort of customization. You're doing that on the back of Salesforce, though, aren't you? Which is a really interesting play.
Correct. And then everything that the customer sees, everything they do on their CRM is 100% available on their mobile application. So there is nothing that you can do on your desktop that you cannot do on your mobile, which is also a very, very good feature. Now, with that, on top of everything else, we have the CRM element, and then we have the MLS side. So everybody that is a potential customer of Agent Hub can also share those listings that they want to share. If they don't want to share it, they don't have to. There's no sharing it by accident. You have to physically click and save. It makes it for a more well-rounded system.
So that's a really interesting one. So what we're talking about there, I think you're alluding to, building on there, is what the Americans call an MLS system, isn't it there? A multi-listing service, is that right? Correct. So talk us through that again, just from the very basics. So this is about the ability, essentially, for an agent to share other listings with other agents that they choose to. Is that right?
Yeah, so imagine you've got 3 customers. Those 3 customers each have 10 properties for sale and rental. Okay, mixture of each. Now, They don't know nothing about each other. You've got Simon Well, Ashley McKellar, and full stop. Those 30 properties can be sold by any one of those three agents, but they're all visible on the MLS, and the agent would be able to sell any one of those and receive a referral fee from any one of those properties. They're still going to get paid their full fee from the vendor.
Yeah.
And if you get to a strong enough base, then every agent's fees go up, not just one agent. But then you have a lot of agents might sell 70% of their stock.
Yeah.
They sell 70% of their stock and they're looking for something very similar, then they can go on the MLS for that.
People famously follow the listings, don't they? So again, if you've got more listings, you're going to be more popular as well in terms of there. So there's that whole honeypot halo effect from that element there. Trevor, obviously, if you're still watching Trevor, I think he talks very eloquently, doesn't he, about you should be using this this ability to talk to vendors about driving the price up, doesn't he? So again, our cousins across the water very enviously, have 6% fees, 3% for the buyer, 3% for the seller as well there. And a large part of that is their ability to say, look, this MLS allows you to share across all of these different agents.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's very important, on this platform, you can follow listings, you can follow agents as well. So you're not losing out. You don't have to share anything, but at the same time, the system will tell you if you've got a requirement in there. So if Simon Well is looking for a piece of land in London Bridge, doesn't exist, but you can actually put that requirement and share it on the system. They can't see that it's Simon Well. They can only see that the agent has a contact or an applicant that's looking for that, and it will tell them, speak to this agent, that agent, this agent, because they've got 3 properties that match that requirement, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's lovely. So again, I know some of the great success you've been having is with the land and new homes developers, isn't it? On that basis as well.
Yeah, because obviously developers have one thing, and it's how quickly can I get rid of my properties, right?
Yeah.
So with that, if we can get more developers onto the MLS, you're going to have a very, very big influx and steady flow of new homes coming through.
That's great. So can we just go back to how is this a new bit of functionality? Is this out there in the wild yet? Is it too soon to say what people are saying about it? Where are you in terms of the rollout of this particular sort of feature?
CRM is fully out and available with all of the features that we mentioned: mobile application, portals for the users, even new home portals, so new home and master agent portals as well. MLS is fully built and ready to go. Probably come out in September or October.
Okay, cool. And is there going to be a charge for that element of it? Is that like just literally a different module that you would subscribe on top of the core license?
Yeah, so there'll be a small charge. If you're an Agent Hub customer, there'll be next to no charge. But for the foreseeable future, and at least until January 2021, there'll be no charge at all.
And sorry, did I pick up there that you were saying if you're an Agent Hub client, but actually, are you intimating there that other people using other CRMs will also be able to use this MLS tool as well?
Yeah, because what it is that, yes, we're built on a Salesforce platform. Yes, we're flexible, we're customizable. You can do everything else that you want to do, but it's not going to be for everybody. And some customers are just going to literally not want to be on that type of platform, which is fine. But can they still use the Agent Hub MLS even if they're on a repeat? Yep. Yes, they can.
Okay, that's fascinating. And just on that, so I'm guessing with these MLS, I can imagine tight groups of things like, some of the referral networks. So like the likes of maybe guild members or RAN members, that Mayfair group, if they wanted to almost group together and have their own MLS. I remember in days gone by, I don't know if you remember, obviously, there were a team, a big organization fundamentally was focused around the MLS side of things. Is that how you see this developing in kind of pockets of agencies to start off with working together and then take it out from there?
Both. So on the system, naturally, even as a CRM user, and it works exactly the same for the MLS. You can actually have private groups that are locked, just like you can have on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. So you can have private groups. So those groups that are already in existence can control and monitor their groups and invite agents into their groups via the MLS. But you can still actually have properties that are shared on the wider MLS as well, so that everybody can see it. The difference between a group and it not is that agents that are in the group would only be able to see properties and post properties in that group if they chose to, so that their properties would remain within themselves if they were operating in that way.
Okay. Trevor comes back just on that point about the MLS, and from his point of view, obviously, for a better agency, it's better agency in general to do it. Fees up, access to more stock, as we discussed. Can't sell what you don't have. Done well can take revenue up 41%. Trevor, I'd love to see some case studies on the basis of that. That would be really interesting, and I'm sure Ashley would love that as well if you're not already working together on that basis. He goes on to say that MLS is a hub, it's an IDX. Key is cross-software integration, interoperability. I think I got that out right, but it's always a word that I've struggled with. But again, it's coming back to the key challenge here, isn't it? In the States, there are literally, not only hundreds of software packages feeding them, but hundreds of MLSs, isn't there? Are you going to keep this as a single MLS, or are you going to break off into kind of multiple MLSs?
We'll keep it as a single one to keep it active and as strong as we can. But what we'll do is we'll allow different people to feed into it if they wish.
Okay, and then he says almost as if it's a secret club. Ash knows, so there you go. Ash knows. He goes on to say, and I'm making this point. This is Trevor's view. Team got it wrong, as didn't use it to get the fees up. I think some of them did, to be fair, use it as a fee defender or there. But I get your point. Okay, we're still waiting for people to really use this strongly in this country, aren't we?
I think once you get to a certain level, and if you are 100 agents, 500 agents in a certain area or certain postcode, then yes, everybody in that remit, in that group, in that location, you should be able to generally get your fees up in that location. If you're at 1.5%, and if everybody starts charging 2%, and everybody's saying, look, we have access here to 500 agents. So you're putting it on with us, you're paying us our 2% that we've asked for, but you're actually getting 500 agents.
Yeah. Well, I wish I had Trevor on all of my webinars. It's like having Google in your pocket. He says there's 700 MLS in the USA. They're the biggest CRMs. I think he's making the point there. Team was just a follow-up here. Team was many agents for sole rate fee, wrong pitch. Okay, I'll duck out of that moment, Trevor. I'm not getting into a big spat. Okay, right. Okay, so we spoke about how easy it is. It sounds very easy there. This isn't something complex to get this MLS element of it working. What control do you have over elements of sharing of the property there?
Okay, so we're going to go a little bit more technical, if you like.
This is where you lose me, but go on. Give me.
I try not to. So the MLS is built on something which is a very, very big database. Okay, it's another company owned by Salesforce, but very, very easy to manipulate the data that's on there. So if you're asking me, can we control what properties are shared and give it approval after it's shared? Yes, we can. Can the agent share it and then edit it? Yes, they can. Can they share it and then remove it because they've received an offer? It can automatically do that. Once offers are received, it comes off the MLS, or it says on hold because of received an offer. Yeah. So the system itself is very, very easy to navigate, but it's also easy to manage, both from a high level on the agent hub side, so we can actually manage it by rules that we'll put in place, and the agent can actually manage it by their own internal system. But you have different functionalities. Understandably, if you're using the agent hub CRM to manage it, it's a lot smoother. You have a lot more functionality, and it takes you a lot less time. If you're using the MLS site to actually upload your listings and share your listings, then obviously you won't have as much control, you won't see as much dynamics, and you won't see as much graphics around the information that's actually there, people that's viewed, how many offers you've received, and so on and so forth.
Okay, cool. And so we spoke about from the MLS side that yes, obviously Agent Hub clients can use it. We can spoke about we want to broaden that out as well, get other CRM users obviously using that there. In terms of the core system there, it's as you mentioned, residential, commercial as well there. On the lettings side of things, how far does the functionality go on the lettings side of things? Does it extend to being able to do property management? Can it do accounts? Or would you have to tie up with somebody like a Pay Prop, a Let's Pay, an Agent OS? How comprehensive is the lettings proposition at the moment?
Okay, so we are in the middle of integrating with one of the three that you just named to do the payments coming in and going out from the landlord to the tenant. That then feeds into the landlord and tenant portal. We'll do agreements. We've got online tenant offer forms, which then take to an online agreement, which will go live again online. So you're keeping the tenant and the landlord in play every step of the way, very, very easily. We don't charge for portals. Just want to make sure that's out there as well. So
a commitment for forever? Is it a commitment that just at the moment you're not doing it? What's and is that for so if somebody comes to you with a weird and wonderful one, do you just add that into the upload procedures if you can do?
So we are putting an ideas box on our website, which is actually it should actually be up there now. And the ideas box is pretty much a suggestions box, and if it gets enough thumbs up, we'll put it into place. As simple as that.
Is that again that Salesforce ideas tool you're using there?
Yes.
I absolutely love that. So just for people who don't know, this is about you having, again, without getting too involved with the technical side, this is the ability for you and indeed, as I understand it, your clients to float ideas, enhancements to the software, and fellow members can essentially vote on that as well, can't they? So that you as a business, never mind if the client comes first, you can literally see which ones are perceived as being the most important to your clients.
Yeah, and then what we'll do is we'll produce our roadmap, which will also be online. After we've got the ideas box out, every quarter we produce our roadmap, which also will fall in line with the Salesforce updates in the CRM side as well. So, I mean, one of the ones that we had is, can we push our properties from the CRM to Facebook? I think about 3 weeks later was a Facebook marketplace partner.
Nice. Yeah, really, really nice. Really, really. So is one of the, again, coming back to that, is one of the key elements that really you've got with the whole platform is that it gives you the ability to aggressively develop.
Yeah, so we want the agents to kind of steer us with what they want, because the worst thing you have is a company telling you this is the best thing since sliced bread and this is how you use it, right? We want the agents to have some say, which is where go back to that 80-20. We're going to give them the fundamentals, yes, but tell us what the gloss is and we'll put it into place if enough people think it is that way.
But I guess you've still got to be quite strong in some areas if they've literally come up with something batshit mental, just to be able to say, look, it's not going to work because of X, Y, Z, but at least you're having the conversation.
Yeah, of course. And we've got things, that we've been pushed to do or asked to do that we hold off on because there might be a better way. And some of the times it's not that we don't want to do it. Some of the times, I don't know if you are familiar, Simon, about the Salesforce App Exchange, but it's the biggest business app exchange out there. Now, if we don't have something or we don't build something, it's not because we can't or we don't want to do it, but some of the times it exists 20-fold on the app exchange already. So there's no point in us doing it.
No, that's absolutely true, isn't it? Absolutely 0 point reinventing the wheel when it's there in some format to do it, isn't it? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. We've got Asad. Hi, Asad. Obviously, an exceptional agent, and he's just talking about that point in terms of the differences. I think it's fair to say it's pretty much you and Property Base, as far as I'm aware, the only relevant Salesforce platform for UK agents out there. What are the differences between Agent Hub and Property Base? Obviously built on the same platform. What is it literally a user interface element? Is it a difference in approach? What, without obviously, while still being polite, because we're a polite show here, what's the key differences?
Well, look, I mean, Property Base are good. They do, they've been around for a little while, but they're based in San Francisco, so their system is very realtor, yeah,
very US based, yeah,
right.
Okay.
Yes, we're based on the same platform. We do have that in common, but we're very, very different with our portals and our approach, and what we do and how we do it. So, yes, they are Salesforce platform as partner as well, but they're based in America. We're based in the UK.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't go to a UK company as well based in America and vice versa.
Yeah, you want to have that they don't have to live on your high street, do they? But it's nice to have it in the same time zone and be able to talk to people there. You'd need to feel very confident that they were reacting quickly, because otherwise you get caught in that cross transatlantic. You're going to bed just as they're waking up, and it kind of all gets caught up in the mix, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I guess when you start getting in depth to the nitty gritty, what how accessible is the support, how well is the accounts package, and the sales and solicitors versus what they do, their process is very, very different.
Yeah, okay, that is interesting. And Assad does a follow-up there. He talks about, you've mentioned about the customization element there. Are agents literally able to log in the way that they can do in native Salesforce and change it? Or do they have to do that via yourself?
No, so they have the flexibility around majority of the objects. If they want to change code, so let's say, for instance, you are a company that is selling properties in the UK and you're also selling properties overseas, right?
Yeah.
We've got something what we call client requirements. If you want the client requirements to show me all of my clients that match this property that is in the UK versus show me all of my clients that is matching this property overseas, then no, you can't change that, because you need to access our code to alter the client requirements and give you two different lists, right?
Yeah.
Can you change, for instance, fields on the system? Can you add in your own dashboards? All of those things you can do very, very easily. Create and replicate contacts, edit lead lists, do your own forecasting, web services to and from different websites. There's a lot of things you can do, as long as it doesn't access the code, which is 9 times out of 10 is probably going to be outside of the agent's remit anyway.
Okay, that's really neat in one respect. I suppose I would be a little bit. Is it possible that they can go too far and ostensibly break the system, or have you built it in such a way that it is able to flex despite those changes?
Impossible. Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely impossible.
I like claims like that. Actually, see, someone will try and break it now.
The only people that try to break it is the Salesforce when they review it every 6 months.
Okay, fair enough. Just in terms of, why do you think it is important for an agent to be able to use an MLS? Do you think that is a gap? Do you think it is a gap in the market over here?
Massive. Sometimes, sometimes I look on Rightmove or Zoopla or whatever it is, and I'm just being nosy. I want to, stay in tune with what's happening. And I look on an agent's profile, and they've got 6 properties for sale. Versus another agent that will have 76 for sale.
Yeah.
If that agent that had 6 properties for sale could access that 76, because they may not sell all 76, and they start to sell 15 every month, that agent is growing. But also the agent that is selling 76 is maintaining their level and not, diminishing their offering of what they're offering their vendors or their landlords. So do I think it's a gap in the market? A huge gap, because there's a lot of properties. If you take the number of properties that are coming onto the market each month, which is about 100,000, versus the number of properties that are being sold each month, which is about 800,000. So it's a very big difference.
Yeah. Okay. Trevor's jumped back now from being my own version of Google. He's now my compliance department. Well done, Trevor. You're quite right here. Our main issue is the CMA. You can't, talking about the MLS and everything else, to raise fees. You can't fix fees, of course, between agents. So can lever up but not fix, as that would be considered anti-competitive cartel. And we all know the heinous fines for that sort of stuff. So yeah, you're quite right in terms of justifying it on a basis without collusion is the key here. Regulation is in place to allow main sub-agency, which is the point he's talking about there.
Yeah. It's completely legal.
Yeah, and he still just says as well, can't sell what you don't have, can turn crap overpriced valuations away. Okay, I see that. Sharon makes the point as well. She just says, if I tried to change anything, I'd guarantee you I'd break it. This really wasn't a challenge, Sharon, but the good news is here you don't have to be let loose on the code base. You can leave the experts like Ash to do it himself. So I'm absolutely sure he would advise you, if you don't know, stay away from it as well. Okay, how customizable is it, Ash? Give us you spoke about it in terms of objects. What does the capability for a normal agent? What could they do in terms of doing something meaningful, changing the workflow to actually match the way they work?
Okay, so we're just onboarding. We're onboarding a couple of agents at the moment, and one of them sent us an Excel spreadsheet using Asana,
Yeah.
and on that spreadsheet, it's a flow of what they want to happen. Some of them are 15 points long. So Simon does this, Sherry does this. When this happens, Ashley does this. When this happens, Robert does this. You can put that workflow in place time by time. So when an offer is received, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. You can also use what's called a time-based workflow. And all of these things the agent has complete control over. And the time-based workflow is when I receive a phone call, or when I book a phone call on day 1, day 3, I need to have a phone call booked in so that I can catch up with them. Day 4, send them an automated email. Day 5, send them an automated text message because we integrate with Twilio for SMS and WhatsApp.
Okay.
So on that respect, completely customizable. Dashboards, you can have multiple dashboards built to the hierarchy level. So managers see one thing, directors see another, staff see another. You can have staff leadership boards. It's a bit like a bit gamified, if you like. So, the team can see, well, I've done 10 lets and you've done 3. I've earned 100 quid and you've earned 4.
Have you? There's a product I saw in Australia called, I think, Spinify. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know Spinify? That's a gamification board as well. I don't know whether you've seen that at all on the platform. Again, this comes down to how can you possibly stay in contact or up to date with? Is it over 2,300 business apps in the marketplace?
About 4,900. About 2,000 of them are free. Maybe 2,500 are free, and the rest are paid.
But you've elaborated there. Some of those, that some of these, let's be honest, are a little bit out there. But actually, you've got some really core ones that I'm sure you won't be able to have. Do at the present time. Yes, text messaging's been around for a while, but to be able to add WhatsApp in there as well, that's really compelling, isn't it?
Yeah, so things like that, some of them are available directly on the App Exchange, some of them are not. But what's very, very important is that there's a lot of business services away from property that agents will use. For instance, DocuSign, MailChimp, Constant Contact, anything that's out there as a business services, you'll generally find that there's a Salesforce application already built for it.
Okay. And
So
we spoke about the consultants a little bit earlier there. Are you a Salesforce consultant or are you something else? What's the difference?
no, you're not a consultant. Consultants are for everybody.
They're chin scratchers, are they? Like my good self, yeah. Sort of. That's going to cost you.
You deal with Agent Hub. You only date Agent Hub. We don't date everybody.
Exclusive. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
You're focused on essentially. You're a company in your own right. So of course you're only helping out your own clients.
Yeah. Consultants do work for anybody that has a Salesforce system. Salesforce consultants will do any work for anybody that has a Salesforce system. So that's potentially 800,000 customers they will do work for. Yeah. We only do work for Agent Hub customers. That's the difference.
Okay, right, that makes sense. Mr. Bevans jumps on, man who knows about CRM stuff. Sounds extremely interesting and an exciting future for Ashley and his team. Best get this VM integration, Van Mildert integration sorted. So he's putting his head above the parapet there, obviously, and asking for, as so often is, like to get that sorted. So obviously there's not many companies better on that side than Van Milder, so pay attention to that. Just on that point, who do you integrate with out there at the moment in terms of sort of industry companies?
Oh, I'll tell you. 1 second. Sorry, this is a little bit longer than I remember. We're looking at Valpal. We currently do Matterport, propertydata.co.uk, Brickfo for commercial finance. On the road with PayProp, EPC Register, Land Registry, Twilio for SMS and WhatsApp. Some way along the line with Brieffield Market, Van Milder, we're discussing Vouch, Landmark, Facebook Marketplace, a couple of the free portals we're coming back to September, October. Net house price on the cards at the moment, currently doing Property XYZ, we're looking at Gumtree, residential people, commercial people, Property Heads, we're looking at Open Bricks, Akaboom, Home Search, Rightmove, Zoopla on the market.
Yeah, so you're not being slow, have you? Yeah, you've got a good integration base there already. You're going to be rivaling Salesforce yourself soon.
And Moving Hub as well.
Okay, moving on. Great. Okay, good stuff. And look, we spoke about at the beginning, Ash, in terms of obviously that perception that look, we all know about Salesforce, but the one thing we know about Salesforce is it's expensive. Is that warranted, or are you able to do something different?
Yeah, so as a Salesforce partner, and as the only one in our space, as in the only partner that does a property CRM based in the UK and Europe, we get to choose our own pricing. And that was one of the biggest cases that we put forward. It took a very long time to get approved, but we get to choose our own pricing. So our licenses our licenses are built on the Salesforce Enterprise license. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
That's one down from the unlimited. So Enterprise license from Salesforce with nothing on it will cost you about 129 to 140 pounds a month per license. We sell that same license with all of the Agent Hub code, all of the integrations that we do, the free integrations, the free portals. We start our pricing at £40 per calendar month per license.
Wow. Okay, that's amount. I don't know what negotiation skills you've got in place to be able to get Salesforce to do that, but that's very impressive. As you said, I pay the top whack for that for my own very generic CRM stuff. So yeah, I've got the enterprise. That's a very punchy offering there, though, isn't it? With enterprise in terms of what you get.
Yeah, so you get quite a lot with it. You get all of your Gmail integration, you get your Outlook integration, you get forecasting. We don't support, as a company, we don't support leads and accounts, so you won't need that in your system. You get the mobile application, which replicates off of the code that we do, so that's fine. But our licenses start from £40 or £50 or £100 for main user licenses if you're above 10 licenses.
Okay.
Admin fees are 250, 500, and 2,000, depending on your user licenses as well.
But you've got a special deal for us, haven't you? Just on that, I believe. Let's say so. In terms of wonderful for our Kerfuffle members, you've been really, really kind in terms of saying you're offering a zero setup fee up until the 1st of September. Is that right?
So for Kerfuffle, being it's you, Simon, we'll do zero admin fee and setup. Doesn't matter if you're using one branch or two. You're using, hierarchies, workflows. We'll do a free setup up until the 1st of September.
That's really kind of you. Thank you for sorting that out for our members. Well, look, I think that's really interesting to see where you're coming from. Good to see that there's some hot competition out there in there, keeping it there. I think the MLS side of things interesting for every single client. No matter what CRM they're using there. Sounds like you, me, and Trevor need to get on a panel close to launch for that, and we can have a nice round table to discuss the merits of that again in the marketplace. I might even get a team on now, or you can watch him at them. Trevor, I'll muscle it out. Okay, yeah. Ash, thank you very much for that. Thanks for taking all the time. Thanks for putting the offer out there for our members. Again, we just urge everybody, go and have a look at Agent Hub on kerfuffle.com. Have a look on there. If you're interested, just click on the I'm interested button. We will forward the introduction through to Ash and the team there, or of course find them in normal places and just mention the wonderful pink beast that is Kerfuffle. And please keep us updated, Ash, with any of your success, and we'd love to tell the market about it.
No problem. Definitely will do, and hopefully there'll be quite a few stories to tell you.
Excellent, great. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers. See ya. Bye bye.